Hi, I'm just going to do a little get ready with me today for you because I wanted to show a couple of things that seem to be a little bit confusing to some of you. So what I'm going to do first is, and I'm at the tail end of this product, my Emerson Hyaluron Ocean Cream Eye Cream. I'm going to take a little bit of that and I'm just going to do my eye moisturizing. And of all the products I've used, this is still my favorite, although I am using the Tatcha product now as well, and that's working well. I did try the one from Terry Dubrow and Heather Dubrow, and I did not love that one. It's okay, but I didn't love it. I didn't like the way it aged. Their products are really not going to be ones that I purchase again. I don't like the smell of the face cream. I'm using up the end of it. This is their Volumogen. It smells to me, it's very floral, smells like a funeral parlor to me. Definitely not something I would buy again, but I do have it, so I will finish it. And that on my face. And the whole purpose of doing this for you is to really show you what comes next. Now, I typically would have another product here for my neck, but I forgot to bring it in. So what I'm going to do is just use this. I don't normally do that. I would use my specific neck and décolleté cream, which are one of two, either the Dr. Dennis or the Emerson. Those are my two favorites for this. I will let it dry just a little bit. Then I'm going to do the Clarins, and this is where the confusion seems to lie. Again, nobody ever taught me how to do it other than to tell me not to rub it in. But this is what I do, and it is clearly working. I mean, my chin is really much more like a real chin that's not hanging a lot. And don't forget, I have not been using my skincare at all the way I normally do lately because of everything else that got in the way. Okay, I don't take much at a time. I take just a little bit, nothing more than this. I'll put my fingers together, and what I will do is I will start to pat it on my neck and my throat. I pat it in. I want to make sure when I'm doing this that I get more, again, the same amount, that little bit, and do it on my chin. So that is essentially what I am doing, because I want to make sure that this part stays up. It's just being patted in. I then take it, tiny bit, and do it right here and across my jowls. Now, the biggest part of this is, and the part of it that I didn't recognize till it was pointed out to me, was that it was working really well. Again, just patting my hands together, going up here where the hollows of my cheeks were. These areas, I had deep hollows here. It really, really was aging, and I didn't even realize that it had gotten better because it was something that was so natural and so, okay, a little bit more again. So altogether, I'm taking like one good dollop. I'm just putting a little in here. I am putting a little on my marionette lines, and then I'm going to take a little and do it on my forehead as well. And this is the end of it. So that's the whole application for me. Do other people do it differently? I have no doubt. This works for me. As long as it works, that's all that matters. Okay, I'm going to give it a minute to kind of soak in before I put anything else on. I wanted to tell you too, I'm going to be doing some catch-up videos because I've got so much to do about so many different things, because everything got backed up clearly when it was all about my health or lack thereof. Okay, next step for me is going to be my Mally primer, and I'm going to use that just to minimize the pores, and I'm really down to the bottom on that one, just a little bit. I wanted to talk about something today that I think is really important. And it's something that I had come across in somebody else's video. And it made me really sad. And it made me realize that it was something that I think needs to be addressed. What she was saying was that when watching other videos of the people who have what feels like or seems like a great deal of disposable money, or money that they spend, disposable or otherwise, that they spend on stuff, that it makes her feel less than. And it took me back to very, very long ago when I was a young girl. I worked at Sotheby's at the time. Next, I'm going to use my Laura Mercier tinted moisturizer just for an overall look. I worked for Sotheby's, and at the time there was a very, very attractive young woman who was the Associate General Counsel. She had to be in her 30s, I'm guessing, and she was very petite and very, very pretty. And she dressed impeccably. She had new outfits on all the time. I don't remember seeing her in the same thing twice. And the outfits were not inexpensive, but she was so well put together that she looked really pretty every day. And I used to shop a lot for clothing, a lot. To the point where, well, even before it started, maybe my mother noticed a trend, and maybe it was because her sister, Yetta, loved to buy lots of stuff, and that's where I got that gene from. But she always used to warn me, because I would say, but I got it on sale. And she would say, you're going to save yourself right into the poorhouse. So with that word of caution, I would always buy things when they were on sale. So I would get really good things and good quality things without paying the prices that I couldn't afford to pay. But yet I had a quite beautiful wardrobe. I remember many years ago watching Susie Orman on one of those late night shows, and in the meanwhile I dotted on my quickie contour stick. Sorry, somebody rang the bell and I totally lost my train of thought, so I'm not even sure what I was talking about before this. But anyway, Susie Orman was talking about when people feel less than, what she said was they spend more than. Now that's a very interesting thing, and it really resonated with me, because the truth is, if you have ever been that kind of person where you didn't feel so great about yourself, or you really didn't have any great faith in who you were, you didn't feel attractive, you didn't feel desirable, you didn't feel any of the things that you needed to feel attractive and to feel valued, you then had to buy new things all the time. Because I know for me, when I had a new outfit that I put on for the first time, I felt beautiful. And I would wear it and it would really be great. But by the second time I put it on, it had lost that, because it wasn't that this is a brand new me and look at me. It wasn't that at all. And feeling less than somebody else because of what they have or what you perceive that they have is something I can understand, but don't do it to yourself. Because in truth, you may think that their world looks beautiful and shiny and they have so much good fortune? Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. And maybe if they do now, if you were to travel that road with them, down the road, it won't be so rosy. They have had the expression that if we all were to put our packages of what our life is into the middle of a table, each one of us would take back our own, because you don't know what the other one is like. You don't know where that road leads. So don't think just because they have stuff that makes their life better. And I truly believe that each one of us comes to this earth to learn lessons, and that our road is one of our choosing based upon things we need to learn to grow. I'm okay with it, whatever it is, because I know that it's all for my good, and I know it's all for your good. So once again, it's really easy for me to say, don't get caught up in the stuff that other people have. And I will tell you, I have had money, not lots, no millionaire here, but I have had enough money to really enjoy myself and have the extra little things here and there that made my life pleasurable. But it was pleasurable only in that it replaced the things that money can't buy. And that's a thought. Replacing the things that money can't buy with the things that money can buy is transitory, because it will never fill the need or the hole in your life that you're trying to fill with the things. Just won't. So that is kind of a little bit of wisdom that came to me based upon that. Okay, I cannot do a get ready with me and talk about other things. I don't know how people do it, because there's something really wrong with me. I don't seem to function really well on that level. I cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. Okay, I'm going to just take this strobing stuff, I think, for a little bit of my blush today, or my, okay, let's see, I'm going to take this end one, see where that takes me. Oh, that's nice. That's kind of a warm look. And again, the goal is to have a kind of warm look today. The sun is out, the snow is melting, it's all good. Okay. I wanted to do it also because basically what I want to show you is the eyes. A couple of people have asked about that. I always do my primer first, because without it, years ago, or even as little as a year and a half ago, when I tried to put eye makeup on, it never worked, because it would wind up, all of it would be in the crease by an hour or two later, and I would always wonder why I put it on to begin with. Never looked good. So now I know that by doing this first, I give it the framework on which to build the look. However, a lot of people put powder over it and it works for them. It does not for me. I don't find that I need it, and frankly, I don't like it as much for myself that way. Okay, I am now going to take that same palette that I used yesterday, and that's the Lorac Pirates of the Caribbean. I want to show you this. I'm going to start out with that. Well, I'm doing it upside down because of the mirror. I'm going to start out with Shiver Me and put that on my mobile lid. I really like it a lot. There's a certain feeling of almost a translucency in it. It gives me a nice base from which to work. I am doing a simple look. And this always works best for me if I just do it with my finger. Okay. For the transition, I'm going to go in with bones. There is one other topic I wanted to talk about today, and that is panic attacks, because that was another subject that was brought up. And it's very, very debilitating. And for people who have never suffered it, you can't possibly imagine how debilitating it is to the people who do or have suffered from it. But panic attacks can go away. They can go away for a period of time. They can go away for many years. They cannot come back. They can be treated with medication. There are ways to function. The easiest way when you're feeling in the middle of the grips of it is to simply give into it. Don't leave the house. Stay in your safe place, wherever your safe place happens to be. But what you do then is you start losing your life. And I don't want any of you to do that. I had panic attacks many years ago. I recognize now that there were a lot of reasons for it, and that actually I didn't even have therapy to figure it out. I kind of figured it out on my own, but it took a really long time because it was connecting the dots for me. One of the things that I realized, there was a huge snowstorm when I was a little kid, and we were at my grandparents' house, and my mother, after the first, I think it must have been after the first day or two, she decided to take me out and try to take me someplace. I don't remember where it was, but I do remember that we got to the corner. There was no path to cross the street. It dead-ended at the corner. Now, don't forget, I was a little girl, so the snow was piled taller than I was. And we were trapped. And that feeling of being trapped was something that just kept rearing its ugly head throughout my life. And it was bad. I mean, it was really bad. So I made that connection. And then there was another connection that I had to this fear that I had. When I was a very little girl, my Aunt Yetta was in charge of me for whatever reason. Well, my mother worked very hard, and her father had been in a nursing home, so she would run from work to the nursing home and to do all the other things that she did because my mother was everybody's caretaker. So Yetta was in charge of me. And I remember being in the kitchen of the apartment that my grandparents lived in, and it was a semi-attached house, and there was an alley between that and the next house, and my aunt was looking out the window talking to her friend on the other side of the alley, holding me between her legs and shaking like a leaf. What she told her friend was that a man was coming up the stairs to kill us. There are no words. I was this tiny little child in between her legs with her arms around me. She's shaking like a leaf. It took me probably I would say a good 40 years, 35 to 40 years to make the connection on that one, because I also used to have horrible, horrible dreams that a man was always trying to break in to kill me. And in my dreams, if he tried to get in the door and I would slam the door in his face, it would turn out to be a Dutch door. So there was a top and a bottom, and if I slammed the top, he'd get in the bottom, and vice versa. Once in my dream, I actually ran through the apartment and flew out the window, risking my life that I'd land and not kill myself rather than stay there to be killed by this unknown person. Interestingly for me, the minute I made the connection on any of these things, I never had that dream again. I never had that terror again, but it took a very long time. Okay, I want to go back. I don't really want to do this. This was not my intention today. Okay, I'm going back to what I did yesterday with the Silent Mary and the Lost at Sea, the two grays. One is a Topia gray, one is a Trua gray. And I'm going to put them on together. I'm going to mix them together. And I will just apply it at the outer third. Like so. The problem for people when they have panic attacks is that you will do anything to avoid the pain of the panic, because in that panic attack you feel like you're having a heart attack, you feel like you're passing out, you break out in a sweat, you feel like you're going to die. So anything, it's avoidance, it's really avoidance. But if you can let the moment pass, try breathing exercises, or again, if you take medication for it, take your medication for it, but try to do a little bit more each day, whatever that turns out to be, because if you do, you'll gain control over your life again. And you can share your stories, you can share your fear. You would be surprised how many people out there suffer from it. You are not alone. You are absolutely not alone. Okay, what am I going to take at the end? I think I'll do the same thing I did yesterday, and I'm going to go for that, trying not to get the mirror in this. I'm going to go for the cursed color for the outer V. I'm just going to tap it into place. On both sides, just to give me that little, and fill it in. It becomes a triangle, and just fill it in. And then I will take the brush and I'll just blend it. The look is a subtle look. That's all I'm going for today, is a very subtle look. Now, what I did yesterday is I simply did the patting in with a flat brush of that black right against my lash line, just that little bit, which makes you look as if you have an eyeliner, but you don't. And then, of course, what you're going to want to do is make sure that you tight line underneath, because that will give you the look of having the line. If you want to intensify the look, wet it. Wet your brush. Okay, now that the eye makeup is on, I can then do my concealing underneath my eye. And by the way, I just should tell you, I did forget to put my foundation on, so it was strictly that tinted moisturizer today that I used. All right, let me get my Touche Clot. And as I've shown you before, I also, what I discovered works to a degree for me is taking, this is the Josie Maran crayon, and this is in a darker color. This one is shade, what is it, medium 2. And all I'm going to do is use that on the darker part of it to just even out the tone right in that area before I start the other stuff. It's kind of like looking, like using a color concealer, I can't even speak, a color corrector, but just a little bit. All right, now that's a very creamy stick. Then I'm going to take my Touche Clot and I will just do a little bit in the inner corner, which gives me the light there, and then very close to the bottom lash line and all the way across. And what I will do is then I will simply brush it in. There we go. All of this will be blended out afterwards, but this is just to give me the basic look of it. And we'll take it from there. Then what I will do is take my Tarte Shape Tape. And the Tarte Shape Tape, I'm using it in the medium, light medium honey. Light medium honey. And I'm just putting like 3 dots, that's all. Just under that area. That's all I'm doing. I'm also going to put a tiny bit in the slight recess by my jowl, though the recesses are nowhere near what they used to be. I will then brush this in as well. And this brings in a little more light and a little more substance because this is thicker than the Touche Éclat. So that's it. The interesting thing is when I first tried to do color concealing and tried to do I keep saying that, color correcting and concealing under my eyes, I thought that I needed to do it with one product, and that is not true. And the worse that I find that I'm just blending it in using the heat of my fingers to blend it in really well. I find that the worse that it is, the more product it takes to really make it work in any way that is viable for me. So, is it going to be perfect? Hell no. I'm far from perfect. Probably won't be in this lifetime. But it becomes a heck of a lot better. Again, it's still showing up as much more in the camera than I see it here in person. I then take my Mironess Concealer Ombre Stick, which again is one of my favorite products, and I will just use it in here to bring a little light to this outer part. It just kind of lights up my face here, and I'll do the same thing on this side, and I will brush that in. Okay. Then I need my powder, which seems to elude me. I have not a clue where I put my powder. Oh, there it is. Then I need my powder, and once again, that's the Mironess Studio Magic BB Pore Powder. And it's translucent, it's very finely milled, and it works best for me. I've tried other powders for now. This is still my favorite, and it does not take much. So I'll put a little bit on my brush. I'll then dab it off into the cap, and I will just apply the littlest bit of it, because the last thing I want is for that to start creasing. It really doesn't take much. Okay. That is good. Then I can start to do my under eye, and I'm going to do exactly what I did yesterday, so you get to see the whole look just the way I did it then. And I'm going to take, it's not my favorite brush to do it with, but a slightly pointed brush, and I'm going to do that blue again, Starry Night, just to bring a little bit of color into it. Oh God, wrong brush. I really needed a finer brush for this. again. Just brush it in a bit. Okay. The next step for me is to add a little bit, and I'm going to take the Lorac pencil, though it gets very rounded and I don't like that, but I'm going to use that in the corners on the bottom just to define the outer corner of my eye. And I'm going to go up from the top and create a little bit of a wing. Because again, the goal is to make the eye look as if it goes up a little bit. I'm going to take my straight brush, if I can find it, and I'm just going to try to smudge this the tiniest little bit in the corner. I still have got to do, this is getting way, 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 way long, so I'm going to do the rest of it on my own, but I will show you this is what I do at the top with the ombre stick again, so that I bring a little light under my eyebrow. I still have to do my brows, I still have to do my lipstick. I may show you the lipstick, I'm not sure, but I will be back in a minute. Okay, it's time for the lipstick now, and of course I'm going to use that inexpensive one that I showed you again, that Perfect Precision lip liner crayon, and this one is in Berry Jam. It's dark color, so again, it's just a little bit of a line around the edge. It's a very fine point, which is good because I don't want much. Now, once again, I'm not going outside the line of my lip, but I'm going to the very outer part of my lip to give it the fullness. Again, the goal being to give it the very lightest line, because I don't want to show it up as two-tone or the old look. And this is, again, going back to my Laura Geller Love Me Do lip crayon in that Honey Fizz, and I'm just going to fill it in. And that will give me my total neutral. And what I will do, and it's not my first choice because I really would prefer something. This is that JIC. I think this one's discontinued. This is ColourPop. And it's, you know, kind of got that little bit of goldy look just in the very center. Just to give it that tiny little bit of light. So once again, you have the total look. that's the completed look for today, aside from getting my hair on. And that I can actually do. I don't think I have any pins here. Unfortunately, if I did, I could just throw the wig on and show you how very simple that is. Somebody had asked me if it was hard to get my hair under the wig. Oh, I'm so sorry I don't have it here. I really would have loved to show you. Oh, I do have one. So all I need is one because I put my hair up in a ponytail. So here we go. That's just to hold that out of the way. I will take, oh, I guess we're going with the really short one today. Was not necessarily the plan, but it happens to be here. So here we go. I'm just shaking the tar out of this one. And here we go. This is the Carte Blanche by Gabor, and I'm just pulling it over. Now, because my hair is long and this is very short, I really should have done more to the hair underneath. But I just wanted to show you how simple it is. And I'll just run my fingers through it to give it a little bit of style. And there we go. I am ready to go. I'm ready to start my day. This has a wonderful lace front, so it's very natural looking. You want to pull your ear tabs down to get them lined up properly. I always stick my finger underneath to make sure that they tilt in rather than out. And that is the look for today. I brought in a scarf. This is one of those infinity scarves, so I'll just put that on. I will give it a second, go around. And there is the completed look. All I need now is an earring to go on, and I'm all set to go. I'm going out to lunch with some friends, and a lot of the snow has melted, so that's all good. And I hope you enjoyed this today. I know it wasn't done as well as it probably should have been, but I hope you got something out of it. But I think the most important thing is whatever you're going through in life, and we all go through things that you may not see as an observer, and you may think the person you're looking at has the perfect life or has everything perfectly under control. You'd be surprised. So when you're going through something tough, share it if you can share it, if you're comfortable doing that. And just try any way you can to get yourself out of it and to get yourself to the next step. This is your life. This is not a dress rehearsal. Take care. I love you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.